SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Good afternoon and welcome to the iGaming Daily. And as the SBC Summit Lisbon fast approaches, we had some incredibly exciting news about the event this week. Today's episode brought to you by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. Actually, 56% of the EGR Power 50 personalized player experiences with Optimove. And as a special offer, actually, Optimove are giving new clients a free first month when they buy Optimove. For more information about that, though, you can go to optimove.com/SBC. And of course, all links will be left in the podcast episode description. We're going to be taking a closer look at the SBC Summit Lisbon, which is fast approaching, on today's episode of the iGaming Daily. And there are a few minds more equipped to give us details on the SBC Summit Lisbon than the VP of Conference Production at SBC, Aidan Brain. Aidan, thanks for joining us.
Hiya, Joe. Thanks for having me.
And as mentioned, the SBC Summit it's creeping up on us, right? It's fast approaching. It must be a busy time for you.
Joe, I've just heard you say the SBC Summit is fast approaching 5 times in the last minute. The anxiety you are giving me is unreal. Can we pretend it's about a year away? So we've still got time to prepare for everything.
Yeah, I mean, such is the size of the event. It's almost impossible to be fully prepared. It is an absolute monster. And we did have some really exciting news this week that I'm not sure if people have been living under a rock, if they've not seen it, but yeah, massive news this week. Can you share us a little bit more on that?
Yes. Very exciting news. So we have managed to secure Tony Hawk, skateboarding legend. I don't think I really need to say much more about him. I feel like almost everybody born before a certain year knows exactly who Tony Hawk is. Yes, Tony will be our day 2 keynote at Lisbon. We're extremely excited about it. I mean, he's an icon. He's a legend. It feels quite surreal that we're going to have him there. So big news, and not the last big announcement about Lisbon, but definitely one of the first.
Awesome. And he certainly transcends generations as well. He's cool to people of all ages. And I just hope as I get into my 50s, I can remain that cool, because I don't know how he's kept it up.
Yeah, well, you've got about 40 years to go until that point, right, Joe? So you'll be fine. For me, that's fast approaching. But he has. Yeah, like you say, he really is one of those celebrities that is not just a flash in a pan. He like you said, he's transcended the generations, because he's really transcended so many industries in so many different spheres of fame. Not just sports, but I mean, he's obviously gone into the video gaming world, and, he's something of a meme as well, right? He had his tweets going on for a while that went really viral about, people not recognizing him and saying, "Oh, you look a bit like Tony Hawk." And so he's transcended a lot of different, realms, as it were.
Yeah, 100%. He's a real legend, and there's something to be said for that longevity as well, being able to stay relevant and stay iconic through generations. It's a really good thing to have, and something he's done really well. Obviously he's kept he's kept on the front of media. He stayed doing a lot of things. He had a really good documentary out recently. It was on Sky in the UK, but I think maybe, I'm not sure what platform it was on across the globe, but well worth a watch if you've not seen it. When you're kind of, I guess, dealing with somebody like that, how challenging is it to get them on board for the event?
So actually, and, I had my first face-to-face call with Tony a couple of weeks ago. I wasn't actually expecting him to be on the call. I thought it would just be his team, and he was on the call, and, it was like Friday, 5 p.m. my time. And I was like, oh God, I'm on a call with Tony Hawk. This is so surreal and weird. But he was extremely relaxed. He's excited about the event anyway. I mean, when you tell him when you tell anybody the numbers for SBC Summit Lisbon, the size of it, I mean, showing them images of the stage that they're going to be on, I don't know if everybody listening has seen the stage, but the super stage in Lisbon is, it's a thing of beauty. It's really amazing. So talking to Tony about those things, it wasn't hard to get him excited. He was also surprisingly a very relaxed, chilled guy. I suppose that's not surprising.
Yeah.
He's a Californian skater, bro. But I mean, there was no sort of airs and graces, and he very much, his approach was, what do you guys want me to talk about? There are so many things that I can talk about to this audience, but you guys give me the direction. He wasn't super prescriptive in planning this keynote. He was quite go with the flow, which is really great because there's so many different things that he can talk about on a stage.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it's pretty cool. I'm pretty jealous that you've already had the one-to-one call with him, and you've got to chat to him. And I'm trying to secure the interview, so maybe I'll use this as a podcast, a hybrid podcast. I'll also pitch myself as the interviewer on stage. We'll see how it goes, but it's one of the things he does really well is everything he puts his name on, he puts his heart into, and he kind of does well. And I think that's why he's stayed so relevant throughout the years. Are you expecting that from his keynote? What are you expecting? Are you expecting something, really from the heart?
Yeah, I mean, so Tony's keynote is going to be very much about his journey and his life, which I think holds a lot of lessons for our audience, for the industry that we host at SBC Summit. So naturally, it does very much come from the heart, because he's telling his life story. But there are so many stages to that life story. So age 14, I think, that's when he became a skateboarding champion. And then, he kind of transcended this role of just being an athlete, when he moved into building a brand, and obviously the video game series he was really instrumental in, and that became such a big part of his fame. And then he's just spun out so many things from that initial athletic success, which, not all athletes do. And I think that's a big lesson for anybody in the audience, no matter what industry they're in. You can have one bit of success, and that's great, but then you can capitalize on that success and turn it into something much bigger, and that's who succeeds really in the world that we're in. They don't just have one bit of success and stay there. They take that and they use it as a springboard to something else. So that's what he is going to. Those are the life lessons he's going to be imparting, and I think that's easy for him because he's had so much of that in his life. Yes,
certainly a lot that can be learned on a business level and also on a human level. I think it's going to be a great speech. There's going to be so much to absorb from it, like there is at the whole event actually. And I kind of want to take the conversation a little bit more general, because I think the Tony Hawk announcement caught nearly everyone that wasn't in the know off guard. It's kind of a very different choice. It's a very flamboyant choice for SBC to go with Tony Hawk for the keynote for this event. When you're looking at the pool of keynotes, what are you looking at? Like it must be such a wide pool of fascinating people, legends from all different sectors. Yeah, what are you looking at? And are there any kind of left field candidates you could share with us that were in the mix for this one?
Yeah, I mean, there was a long list of candidates, and some of them were extremely left field. But I mean, I will say, you said Tony Hawk's a very flamboyant choice for a keynote. This is I mean, I don't think this is going to be on any of the official marketing, but this is a flamboyant event. This is a huge event. It's the biggest one that we've done so far. The tagline is, it's the greatest show in gaming. So we really did have to go big and flamboyant, as you say. And we had a huge pool. The sky was the limit, really, when it came to choosing a keynote. And Tony was a choice, for some of the reasons that I've said. He's an example, just a distillation of entrepreneurship, right? And turning a brand into success and turning sports into commercial success, which in a way is what sports betting industry is about. And it still has that sports athletic connection. We could have gone really left field. I'm not sure if she listens to iGaming daily, so I don't want to put her on the spot, but Gwyneth Paltrow was one of the options that came up in the list.
Yeah.
And you can always draw a line between, okay, we're talking, everything at SBC Summit is about innovation and entrepreneurship and building businesses. And somebody like Gwyneth Paltrow has done that, but it is a little bit too left field. So that's how we kind of narrowed it down. Who is the audience going to recognize? Who has a connection to the world of sports, or perhaps to the world of, the internet and technology, which is a major focus of SBC Summit and everything that we do at SBC events. That's how we narrowed it down. So we started with a huge pool, and then we slowly whittled it down to who is going to have the most impact and who is going to have the most relevance for the audience.
Yeah, there's definitely that connection. Even if not related directly to the betting world, there's definitely that connection that he's going to make, and his speech and what he says, his story is going to really resonate with people from our industry. So yeah, I think good choice there. Definitely really excited. I think the room's going to be packed. And, we kind of mentioned, if we, to tick off the over-under on how many times we can say the word flamboyant in this episode. You mentioned how flamboyant the event is going to be, how many surprises there's going to be. Is that something we can expect? More kind of things that are just going to take your breath away like this, that are going to keep you guessing it and keep you just on your toes and just really, be spectacular.
Yeah, in a word, yes. I mean, there were things I found out about even last week that blew my mind that we're going to have at SBC Summit, and I don't want to spoil them. I don't know if it's worth my job spoiling it all for everybody on the podcast, but there are some things that I think will just... I've been working in conferences and events for, over a decade, and I've never seen an event like this, and that's not... I'm not just being paid to say that. That's not hyperbole. This is going to be a massive, spectacular event. The greatest show in gaming, as the headline is. Yeah,
likewise. It was, actually, our producer Anea keeps reminding me it was my 7-year anniversary at SBC this week, and I've never seen quite. Thank you. But I've never seen anything quite like this event. It really is just spectacular. There's so many different elements that are just going to take your breath away in a different type of way as well. So much insight, so much to learn, so many really once in a lifetime experiences like this Tony Hawk keynote. And I think one of the reasons why he kind of does resonate with our audience so much is the iconic video games. We heard from John Romero at the CasinoBeats Summit in Malta. He had that connection to our audience because of the video games. Do you think that's something we can expect to hear from Tony about at the event? The Tony Hawk Pro Skater, and why that game did so well?
Definitely. That is definitely going to be something that Tony touches on, because you can't really tell his life story or, provide share the lessons from his life story without touching on the video game franchise. I mean, for many people, that's where they know him from, is from the video games. If they weren't into, they didn't watch skating on TV or whatever, I don't even know if in the 90s it was on TV, they heard of him through video games. So that's a huge part of it. And I think, yes, he will definitely be talking about why those video games in particular captured so many gamers' imaginations.
Yeah, for myself, it was my first introduction to Tony Hawk. And from there, you just get to know and have so much admiration for the persona and the sporting legend that he is. And yeah, really excited to hear about that. To be more general, Aidan, we've obviously you've listened to a lot of keynotes in the past. Mm-hmm. Do you have any standout memories from any keynotes? Any particular ones that stand out to you?
Well, I'm getting on in age a bit, Joe, so my memory only stretches back about 3 months, but there was a really good one about 3 months ago, at our North America Summit in New Jersey. So we had Dan Marino keynoting, and that was just fantastic. He was a great guy. He's such an icon. I'm not a huge NFL expert myself, but I knew who he was from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And that was, first of all, somebody in the audience asking him what his favorite line was from Ace Ventura: Pet Detective. And it was some line about gonorrhea or something. It was a very random, bizarre moment. Then him, throwing a signed ball into the audience. That was cool. And there was so much audience interaction, and it was light and it was funny. And I think the key thing with these big celebrity keynotes is we don't actually want to bog them down talking about our industry. We have days of really educational content about our industry. I think that having the likes of Dan Marino and Tony Hawk there it brings levity in a way. And it kind of just makes everything really fun. And the Dan Marino keynote was just so much fun. Everybody was laughing, and it was great. Yeah. So that's a standout memory for sure. Even though it's a bit of a cop out because it was only 3 months ago, but yeah.
No, it's a really good point, actually. And I think that's what you dream of with a keynote, right? You learn and you learn these life lessons and you learn these business lessons, but you kind of do it subliminally because you're having so much fun in that room while you're watching somebody that just oozes character. And I've no doubt Tony Hawk is going to be the same. And, I remember with the Dan Marino one, the audience interaction really took it up a notch. The throwing footballs into the crowd. That was fantastic. That, really did elevate the energy. It really got the room going as well and started the day in the best possible way. Another thing at our events, as we've kind of mentioned, is there do tend to be a few celebs hanging about. Is that something you're expected from this one? Could we see a few famous faces? Obviously, we're in Portugal. It's a hot spot. What are you expecting there? Should we roll out the red carpet?
Definitely. We're going to have a lot. I don't know all of them that are going to be there, but just as an example, going back to our Rio event this year in February, we had Zé Roberto keynoted, but we also had Ronaldinho at one of the stands. A lot of our partners, a lot of the operators and suppliers that we work with have partnerships and ambassadors who are famous faces. And we're going to obviously all those people are going to be at SBC Summit Lisbon. So a lot of the ambassadors are going to be there as well. I don't think I'm spoiling too much to say that I am 99% certain Figo will be there. Obviously, nice. We're in Portugal, and he is a partner to many of our clients and partners. So that's just one example. But definitely, and beyond Tony Hawk, there will definitely be some other famous faces walking around. Yeah.
Nice, exciting times, and I'll forgive you as well because we are on semi-final day. England play Holland tonight in the Euro semi-final, and you've mentioned Figo and Ronaldinho especially, two guys that broke English hearts in major tournaments previously. Getting a bit of PTSD there before the game tonight. Not what I needed, but the stars will definitely be out for our event in Lisbon. Incredibly exciting. And have you ever had any sort of famous encounters? Any celebrity spottings that you've picked out that you remember, stick in your recollection?
At our events,
either or, I guess. I'll give you the free berth there.
Wow. Well, I will say, when I was 20, I sold Noel Gallagher a pair of trainers. I worked at Lacoste.
Wow.
In London. That's my biggest claim to fame, and nothing has topped it in the 20 odd years since. At our events, like I said, Dan Marino, that was so cool. Zé Roberto, we have so many cool people at our events. So that's always really sticks in my head because I actually work with these people and speak to them to plan out their session and so on. So it's not just I've seen them in the queue for, whatever at Tesco and kind of yelled her name. I've actually been talking to them. So that's always been really cool. But yeah, otherwise, Kochi, that one Noel Gallagher sighting 16 years ago.
Nice. That is, it's hard to top that. You peaked too soon there, really. I don't know if you get any better than that.
The same year I was stood behind Peter Stringfellow at the queue for cash at a petrol station. So there's two. There's more coming back to me now, but that's probably it.
What a year for you. What a year for you that was.
I know. It's all downhill since.
Yeah. Well, it's going to get better anyway in Lisbon. We're going to,
exactly.
They're going to flood in. And, it is such a massive event. That is something we've spoken about quite a lot. The scale is quite astronomical. There's so much to see, so much to do, so much knowledge to take in, so many discussions to be had. I wondered if, before we sign out, if you had any tips for our listeners to kind of best prepare for the event, to ensure they get the most out of it from, whatever sector they're going into, and to also explore new sectors.
Yeah. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head there. They have to prepare. Some events, you don't necessarily have to prepare. You just need to know, okay, here's the time it starts. I'll be there. I'll be in these sessions. SBC Summit is so big that I would recommend signing into the app a couple of weeks before, at least. We do have the app, SBC Connects Plus, kind of making yourself a schedule, because there's no way you're going to get to see everything you want to see. Make yourself a schedule so that leave yourself a bit of time to rest and relax and enjoy the event itself as well, or walk around the expo hall. But if you're going to conference sessions, definitely plan those out in advance. And then you're going to miss some, you just are. So make sure your team members are coming to the event as well, and maybe they can cover a conference session when you'll be in a different one on the other side of the expo hall. For this one, I definitely say bring some comfy shoes, because it is massive, absolutely massive. So you might have a meeting at booth, 300 and you're at booth 2. That might take you 15 minutes to get to. So have some nice shoes. But really just come expecting a lot of fun networking as well. The stuff that we've got planned for every night, the Tuesday night, the Wednesday night, the Thursday night, is really, really incredible. So make sure you've got some energy for the networking parties, because you're going to need it, but it's going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So
echo both of them things about the comfy shoes and the app. The app is an absolute godsend. It's fantastic. Really helps you through the event. And also, it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Pace yourself, Get through it. Don't burn out too early for the maybe newer heads to events. But yeah, a really exciting one, and some stellar advice there to help people maximize it. And Aidan, we look forward to more announcements in the near future.
Oh, yes.
Flooding in about the event. Hopefully they're as exciting as this one, because this one really is fantastic. And thanks ever so much for joining us. We'll catch up nearer the time, I hope, and discuss the event again. And yeah, have a good evening, and thanks again.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Joe. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily Podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.